Have you ever stood on a mountain ridge, watched the clouds roll across the valleys of West Java, and wondered how many stories are hidden beneath the landscape? Most people know Bandung. They know the cafes, the creative culture, the universities, the fashion streets, and the cool mountain air. But beyond the famous city lies a land whose story is rarely told, a land of ancient volcanoes, freedom fighters, visionary farmers, railway pioneers, cultural legends, and breathtaking natural beauty. A land that has quietly shaped the identity of an entire region. That land is Bandung Barat, and once you discover its story, you may never look at West Java the same way again. Because Bandung Barat is not simply a district on a map, it is a living testament to resilience, a place where nature and history have worked together for centuries to create something extraordinary. Today, I want to take you on a journey through 7 remarkable chapters of Bandung Barat's history. These are stories of struggle, stories of innovation, stories of courage, stories that deserve to be remembered. And by the end of this journey, you will understand why Bandung Barat is one of Indonesia's most fascinating hidden treasures. Let us begin. Long before Bandung Barat officially existed as an autonomous regency, this region was part of the vast territory of Bandung Regency. For generations, the people living in places such as Lembang, Padalarang, Batu Jajar, Nampra, Cisarua, Parongpong, Cipatat, and Rongga shared a common identity with the greater Bandung region. At that time, Bandung Regency covered an enormous area. Managing public services across such a large territory was increasingly difficult. Road infrastructure needed improvement. Government administration required greater efficiency. Communities in the western region needed faster access to public services and development opportunities. As Indonesia entered a new era of regional autonomy, discussions emerged about creating a new regency that could better serve the people living in the western part of Bandung. The process was not easy. It involved years of planning, political debate, public consultations, and administrative preparation. Many believed that creating a separate regency would accelerate economic growth, improve governance, and bring government services closer to local communities. Finally, on June 19, 2007, Bandung Barat officially became an autonomous regency. It was a historic moment, a moment that marked the beginning of a new chapter, a moment when the people of Bandung Barat gained the opportunity to shape their own future. But the story of Bandung Barat goes far deeper than administrative boundaries. To truly understand this region, we must travel back to one of the most turbulent periods in Indonesian history, the struggle for independence. The mountainous geography of Bandung Barat made it strategically important during Indonesia's fight against colonial rule. Its hills, forests, valleys, and remote villages became natural defensive positions. During the revolutionary years, freedom fighters often used these landscapes as hiding places, communication routes, and guerrilla bases. The rugged terrain made it difficult for enemy forces to maintain control. Places such as Lembang, Batu Jajar, and Padalarang witnessed moments of extraordinary courage. These communities became silent witnesses to sacrifices made by ordinary people who dreamed of an independent Indonesia. Many residents provided food, shelter, information, and support to resistance fighters. They understood that freedom was not something that could simply be given. It had to be earned. Every hill, every valley, every forest path carries echoes of those struggles. And while many physical traces have disappeared with time, the spirit of resistance remains deeply embedded within the identity of Bandung Barat. The people who live here today walk upon land that once carried the hopes of a nation. Yet Bandung Barat's greatness is not defined only by war and sacrifice. It is also defined by innovation. Few people realize that Bandung Barat has long been one of West Java's agricultural powerhouses. Its fertile volcanic soil and cool climate create ideal conditions for farming. For generations, local farmers transformed steep hillsides into productive agricultural landscapes. They developed techniques adapted to the unique challenges of mountainous terrain. One of the most remarkable examples is terraced farming. These carefully engineered terraces help reduce soil erosion, conserve water, and maximize agricultural productivity. Long before sustainability became a global conversation, farmers in Bandung Barat were already practicing methods that balance production with environmental preservation. The region became known for producing high-quality vegetables, fruits, tea, and coffee. Agricultural knowledge passed from one generation to the next. Families shared techniques, observations, and innovations. Communities worked together to adapt to changing conditions. This spirit of creativity helped transform Bandung Barat into one of the most productive agricultural regions in West Java. And every harvest tells a story of patience, a story of wisdom, a story of people working in harmony with nature. As Indonesia entered the colonial era, another chapter began, one that would forever change the region's economic and social landscape: transportation. The Dutch colonial administration recognized the strategic importance of connecting Bandung with other regions of Java. As a result, major transportation infrastructure projects were developed across what is now Bandung Barat. Roads carved through mountains, railway lines crossed valleys, bridges connected previously isolated communities. These transportation networks transformed mobility. Goods could be transported more efficiently. Agricultural products reached broader markets. Economic activity expanded. People gained access to new opportunities. The railway system became particularly significant. Historic stations and railway corridors that still exist today serve as reminders of this transformative period. The railways were not merely engineering achievements, they were symbols of a changing society. Communities grew around transportation hubs, trade flourished, new industries emerged. The movement of people and ideas accelerated, and Bandung Barat became a critical link within West Java's transportation network. Yet perhaps one of the greatest gifts nature bestowed upon Bandung Barat lies beneath its surface: natural resources. For centuries, the region has been blessed with abundant geological wealth. Limestone formations, mineral deposits, and construction materials have supported economic development across multiple generations. Mining activities contributed significantly to regional growth. They provided employment opportunities and supported infrastructure development. But this chapter of Bandung Barat's history also teaches an important lesson: the challenge of balancing economic progress with environmental responsibility. Throughout history, societies around the world have struggled to find this balance. Bandung Barat is no exception. Its experience demonstrates the importance of managing natural resources wisely, because true prosperity is not measured only by what we extract from the earth. It is measured by what we preserve for future generations. And perhaps nowhere is the connection between nature, culture, and identity more powerful than in the legendary story of Sangkuriang. Ask almost any Indonesian about West Java, and chances are they know the tale. The story tells of Sangkuriang, a young man who unknowingly fell in love with his own mother, Dayang Sumbi. When the truth was revealed, tragedy followed. In a fit of anger and frustration, Sangkuriang kicked a boat that eventually became the iconic shape of Mount Tangkuban Perahu. Whether viewed as folklore, mythology, or cultural heritage, the legend remains deeply woven into the identity of the region, and nowhere does it feel more alive than in the highlands of Lembang and the surrounding areas of Bandung Barat. Towering above the landscape, Mount Tangkuban Perahu stands as both a geological wonder and a cultural symbol. Its distinctive silhouette continues to inspire storytellers, artists, historians, and travelers. The legend teaches lessons about humility, respect, family, and humanity's relationship with nature. More importantly, it reminds us that stories have power. They connect generations, they preserve identity, they transform landscapes into living memories. And when visitors gaze upon Tangkuban Perahu today, they are not merely looking at a volcano, they are looking at one of Indonesia's most enduring cultural symbols. Then comes the newest chapter in Bandung Barat's remarkable story: tourism. Over the past 2 decades, Bandung Barat has experienced extraordinary growth as a travel destination. Its cool climate, scenic mountains, waterfalls, forests, lakes, and cultural attractions have drawn millions of visitors. What was once primarily known for agriculture and natural resources has evolved into one of West Java's most dynamic tourism regions. Lembang has become a favorite destination for families. Mountain viewpoints attract photographers and adventurers. Nature parks welcome travelers seeking tranquility. Resorts, cafes, and recreational attractions continue to emerge across the region. This growth has created jobs. It has stimulated local businesses. It has increased economic opportunities for communities throughout the Regency. Yet tourism also brings responsibility. The challenge is ensuring that development remains sustainable, protecting forests, preserving water resources, safeguarding cultural heritage, supporting local communities. These priorities will determine whether future generations inherit the same beauty that attracts visitors today. Because the true value of Bandung Barat is not found only in its tourist attractions. It is found in the delicate balance between progress and preservation. And perhaps that is the greatest lesson this region offers the world. History is not something trapped in textbooks. History is alive. It exists in landscapes. It exists in traditions. It exists in communities. It exists in the choices people make every day. Bandung Barat is a place where ancient volcanic forces shaped the land, where freedom fighters defended their homeland, where farmers transformed mountains into productive fields, where railways connected communities, where legends became cultural treasures, where tourism opened new opportunities, and where the future continues to be written. Every valley tells a story, every mountain holds a memory, every village carries a legacy. The next time someone mentions Bandung, remember that beyond the city lies a region filled with extraordinary history, a region that helped shape West Java, a region that continues to inspire through its resilience, creativity, and beauty. Bandung Barat is more than a destination, more than a regency, more than a collection of landmarks. It is proof that some of the world's most remarkable stories are hidden in places people often overlook. And perhaps the greatest treasures are not the ones that appear on every travel brochure. They are the ones waiting quietly to be discovered. Bandung Barat is one of those treasures, a land of history, a land of legends, a land of innovation, a land of courage, and a land whose story deserves to be shared with the world. But the story of Bandung Barat does not end there, because when you look deeper, beyond the official records and beyond the famous landmarks, you begin to discover something even more remarkable. You discover the soul of the region, a soul shaped by fire, water, earth, and human determination. To understand Bandung Barat, you must first understand the forces that created it millions of years ago. Long before there were roads, long before there were villages, long before there was even a concept of West Java. This land was shaped by one of the most dramatic geological events in Indonesian history. Scientists believe that the Bandung Basin was formed through massive volcanic activity and geological transformations that occurred over countless centuries. Ancient volcanic eruptions reshaped the landscape, creating fertile valleys, highlands, and dramatic mountain formations that continue to define the region today. The result was a natural environment unlike almost anywhere else. Volcanic soil enriched the land, fresh mountain water flowed through valleys, dense forests flourished, biodiversity thrived. Nature was preparing the foundation for future civilizations. And when humans eventually settled these lands, they inherited one of the most fertile and beautiful regions in the Indonesian archipelago. This natural wealth became both a blessing and a responsibility. Generations of communities learned how to live alongside powerful natural forces. They respected the mountains. They understood the rhythms of the seasons. They adapted their lifestyles to the environment around them. This relationship between people and nature remains one of the defining characteristics of Bandung Barat today. It is visible in the agricultural terraces climbing mountain slopes. It is visible in traditional villages nestled among valleys. It is visible in the cultural wisdom passed down through generations. Because the people of Bandung Barat have always understood something that modern society sometimes forgets. Nature is not simply a resource, nature is a partner. As centuries passed, trade routes began to emerge throughout the region. Communities exchanged goods, ideas, traditions, and innovations. Farmers carried produce through mountain pathways. Merchants travelled between settlements. Cultural influences flowed across the landscape. These interactions helped create a vibrant regional identity that combined local traditions with outside influences. The result was a culture that remained deeply rooted in Sundanese heritage while continuously adapting to changing times. Music evolved, language flourished, traditional arts developed. Ceremonies and customs became expressions of community identity. Even today, visitors can experience traces of these traditions throughout Bandung Barat, in local markets, in traditional foods, in cultural celebrations, in everyday conversations. These cultural treasures represent centuries of accumulated knowledge and experience. They remind us that development is not only about buildings and infrastructure, it is also about preserving the values and traditions that give communities their unique character. As the 20th century unfolded, Bandung Barat entered a period of profound transformation. Technology advanced, transportation improved, population growth accelerated, economic opportunities expanded. The world was changing rapidly, and Bandung Barat changed with it. New schools were established, healthcare services improved, road networks expanded, agricultural practices modernized, communication became faster, communities became increasingly connected to regional and national economies. Yet, despite these changes, the region retained much of its natural beauty. This combination of modernization and environmental richness would eventually become one of Bandung Barat's greatest strengths. Because while many regions sacrifice natural landscapes in pursuit of development, Bandung Barat managed to preserve many of its most valuable ecological assets. Its mountains remained majestic, its forests continued to provide life, its rivers sustained communities, its fertile land continued to feed generations. This balance would later become the foundation for a thriving tourism industry. Visitors were not simply attracted by attractions, they were attracted by authenticity. They came to experience landscapes that still felt alive. They came to breathe cooler air. They came to reconnect with nature. They came to escape the pressures of rapidly expanding urban life. And Bandung Barat welcomed them. Today, destinations throughout the region attract travelers from across Indonesia and around the world. Visitors stand at scenic viewpoints overlooking endless green valleys. They explore volcanic landscapes shaped by ancient eruptions. They enjoy local culinary traditions that reflect generations of agricultural heritage. They discover cultural stories that continue to inspire. But beneath every tourist photograph lies a deeper narrative, a story of people. Because the greatest strength of Bandung Barat has never been its mountains, it has never been its forests, it has never been its tourist attractions. Its greatest strength has always been its people. The farmers who cultivated difficult terrain, the freedom fighters who defended their homeland, the workers who built roads and railways, the entrepreneurs who created new opportunities, the teachers who educated future generations, the community leaders who guided development, the families who preserved traditions while embracing change. Together, they transformed Bandung Barat into what it is today, and their story continues. Every child born in Bandung Barat becomes part of that legacy. Every student who dreams of a better future, every farmer planting a new crop, every entrepreneur opening a business, every artist preserving local culture, every conservationist protecting the environment. Each contributes another chapter to a story that is still being written. This is why Bandung Barat matters, not because it is famous, not because it appears in travel magazines, not because it attracts millions of visitors. It matters because it represents something universal, the ability of communities to adapt, the power of resilience, the importance of preserving identity while embracing progress, the possibility of building a future without forgetting the past. In an age where many places are becoming increasingly similar, Bandung Barat remains distinct. Its landscapes tell unique stories. Its traditions carry unique wisdom. Its history offers unique lessons. And perhaps that is why more people are beginning to pay attention, because authenticity is becoming rare, and Bandung Barat still possesses it. The mountains still rise above the clouds. The valleys still echo with stories from generations past. The legends still inspire imagination. The people still carry the spirit of those who came before them. And the future still holds endless possibilities. So the next time you hear the name Bandung Barat, do not think of it as merely a region west of Bandung. Think of it as a living archive of Indonesian history. Think of it as a meeting point between nature and civilization. Think of it as a place where courage, innovation, culture, and beauty have come together for centuries. Because hidden among the mountains of West Java is a story that deserves to be heard. A story of resilience, a story of transformation, a story of hope, a story called Bandung Barat. And the most inspiring chapter may still be ahead. And if you truly want to understand why Bandung Barat continues to captivate everyone who visits, you must look beyond the scenery and beyond the statistics. You must look at what this region represents, because Bandung Barat is, in many ways, a reflection of Indonesia itself, a place where ancient traditions and modern ambitions exist side by side, a place where nature remains powerful even as cities continue to grow, a place where the past is never forgotten, yet the future is embraced with optimism. Walk through the Highlands at sunrise, watch the morning mist drift across the valleys, listen to the distant sounds of village life beginning another day. In those moments, you realize that Bandung Barat is not simply beautiful, it is timeless. The mountains that stand today have watched generations come and go. They witnessed ancient settlements, they witnessed colonial expansion, they witnessed the struggle for independence, they witnessed the birth of a new regency. and now they witness a new generation shaping the future. Few places possess such a profound connection between landscape and history. Every ridge tells a story, every forest hides a memory, every river carries echoes of the past. And perhaps that is why so many people feel a special connection to this region. Even visitors who arrive for only a few days often leave with a sense that they have experienced something deeper than a vacation. They have experienced a place with character, a place with identity, a place with a soul. As Indonesia continues its journey through the 21st century, Bandung Barat stands at an important crossroads. Opportunities are everywhere. Tourism continues to expand. Technology creates new possibilities. Infrastructure improves connectivity. Education opens doors for future generations. Investment supports economic growth. The region has tremendous potential, but every opportunity brings responsibility. The challenge facing Bandung Barat is the same challenge facing many beautiful places around the world. How do you grow without losing what makes you special? How do you modernize without sacrificing heritage? How do you welcome development while protecting nature? The answer lies in wisdom. The same wisdom that guided farmers who carefully shaped mountain terraces. The same wisdom that helped communities survive periods of hardship. The same wisdom that preserved traditions through changing times. The future of Bandung Barat will depend on its ability to balance progress with preservation. Because once a forest disappears, it may take generations to return. Once cultural traditions are forgotten, they can be difficult to restore. Once historical sites are lost, they can never truly be replaced. This is why the story of Bandung Barat is not only about celebrating the past, it is also about protecting the future. Imagine Bandung Barat 50 years from now. Imagine future generations standing on the same mountain viewpoints. Imagine children learning the story of Sangkuriang beneath the shadow of Tangkuban Perahu. Imagine farmers continuing traditions while using modern technology. Imagine thriving communities surrounded by healthy ecosystems. Imagine visitors from around the world discovering the beauty of West Java while respecting the culture and environment that make it unique. That vision is possible, but it requires commitment, it requires leadership, it requires communities working together. Most importantly, it requires people who understand the value of what they have inherited. Because Bandung Barat is not simply an administrative region, it is a legacy built by countless individuals whose names may never appear in history books. Farmers, teachers, builders, artists, merchants, freedom fighters, parents, community leaders, dreamers. Each played a role in shaping this remarkable place, and each left something behind for future generations. That is the true meaning of history. History is not dates. History is not monuments. History is not old documents stored in archives. History is the story of human effort, the story of people trying to build something better than what existed before. The story of sacrifices made so others might live better lives. And when you look at Bandung Barat through that lens, everything changes. The roads become symbols of connection. The farms become symbols of perseverance. The mountains become symbols of endurance. The legends become symbols of identity. The communities become symbols of hope. Suddenly, Bandung Barat is no longer just a destination, it becomes an inspiration. A reminder that greatness is not always found in the largest cities. It is not always found in the wealthiest regions. Sometimes greatness is found in places where people quietly work, generation after generation, building a better future while honoring their past. That is the story of Bandung Barat, a story written across volcanic landscapes, a story carried through centuries of change, a story shaped by courage, creativity, and determination, a story that continues today. And perhaps the most powerful lesson Bandung Barat offers is this: never underestimate a place simply because it is overlooked. Some of the most extraordinary stories in the world exist far from the spotlight. Some of the greatest achievements happen quietly. Some of the strongest communities are built without fanfare. And some of the most beautiful places reveal their secrets only to those willing to look deeper. Bandung Barat is one of those places, a land where history breathes through every valley, a land where culture survives through every generation, a land where nature continues to inspire wonder, a land where the spirit of resilience remains alive. So when future generations look back on this chapter of Bandung Barat's journey, what will they see? Will they see a region that protected its natural treasures? Will they see communities that preserve their cultural identity? Will they see leaders who planned for the long term rather than the short term? Will they see a society that understood the importance of balance? The answer is still being written. Every day, every decision, every action, every generation adds another page. And that is what makes Bandung Barat so remarkable. Its history is not finished. Its greatest achievements may still lie ahead. Its most inspiring stories may not have happened yet. The mountains are still standing. The rivers are still flowing. The legends are still alive. The people are still dreaming. And the journey continues. This is Bandung Barat, not merely a place on a map, but a living story of Indonesia's past, present, and future. A story worth remembering, a story worth protecting, a story worth sharing with the world. And yet, there is one final truth about Bandung Barat that makes its story even more extraordinary. It is a truth that cannot be measured in square kilometers. It cannot be counted in population statistics. It cannot be captured entirely in photographs or tourism campaigns. It is the power of belonging. Because for the people who call Bandung Barat home, this land is more than geography. It is memory. It is identity. It is inheritance. Every family has a story. A grandfather who cultivated the land when roads were still limited. A grandmother who preserved traditions and local wisdom. Parents who worked tirelessly so their children could receive an education. Young people who dared to dream of opportunities beyond what previous generations could imagine. Together, these stories form the heartbeat of Bandung Barat, a heartbeat that continues to grow stronger with every generation. When we look at history, it is easy to focus on major events, the creation of a regency, the struggle for independence, the development of transportation networks, the rise of tourism. But history is also made in ordinary moments. A farmer planting seeds before sunrise, a teacher opening a classroom door, a craftsman perfecting a skill learned from ancestors, a community gathering to celebrate local traditions, a family sharing stories around the dinner table. These moments may never appear in textbooks, yet they are the foundation upon which entire societies are built. And Bandung Barat has been built on millions of such moments. Moments of hard work, moments of sacrifice, moments of perseverance, moments of hope. That is why the story of Bandung Barat resonates so deeply, because it is ultimately a human story, a story that reflects universal values, the desire to build a better future, the determination to overcome challenges, the courage to adapt to change, the wisdom to preserve what matters most. In many ways, Bandung Barat represents the journey of Indonesia itself, a nation shaped by diversity, a nation strengthened by resilience, a nation enriched by culture, a nation blessed with extraordinary natural beauty, And just as Indonesia continues to evolve, Bandung Barat continues to write new chapters. Today, a new generation is emerging, a generation connected to the world through technology, a generation with access to knowledge and opportunities that previous generations could scarcely imagine, a generation capable of bringing Bandung Barat onto the global stage. But with that opportunity comes responsibility, the responsibility to remember where they came from, to understand the sacrifices that made their opportunities possible, to appreciate the landscapes that sustain their communities, to preserve the traditions that define their identity. Because progress without memory is fragile. Development without culture is incomplete. Growth without sustainability is temporary. The strongest future is built upon a strong foundation. And Bandung Barat possesses one of the strongest foundations imaginable. A foundation built from history, a foundation built from culture, a foundation built from nature, a foundation built from generations of determined people. Imagine standing atop one of Bandung Barat's highest viewpoints as the sun begins to set. The sky transforms into shades of gold, orange, and crimson. The valleys below slowly disappear beneath the evening mist. Villages begin to glow with scattered lights. The silhouette of mountains stretches across the horizon. In that moment, you are witnessing more than a beautiful landscape. You are witnessing the result of millions of years of geological creation, centuries of cultural evolution, generations of human effort, countless stories woven together into a single place. And suddenly you understand something profound. Places matter, not because of what they contain, but because of what they represent. Bandung Barat represents resilience. It represents adaptation. It represents heritage. It represents possibility. It reminds us that extraordinary things can emerge from ordinary beginnings. It reminds us that communities thrive when they remain connected to their roots. It reminds us that history is not something behind us, history lives within us. Every road we travel, every tradition we preserve, every decision we make, every dream we pursue becomes part of an ongoing story. And the story of Bandung Barat is still unfolding. The next great innovator may already be studying in a local classroom. The next cultural guardian may already be learning traditional arts from elders. The next environmental leader may already be exploring the forests and mountains of the region. The next chapter may already be beginning. That is the beauty of history. It never truly ends. Each generation inherits a story, adds its own chapter, and passes it forward. For the people of Bandung Barat, that story is one of determination. For Indonesia, it is a story of regional pride and national strength. For the world, it is a reminder that some of humanity's greatest treasures are not found in famous capitals or global landmarks. They are found in places where people remain deeply connected to their land, their culture, and one another. And perhaps that is why Bandung Barat deserves far more recognition than it often receives. Because hidden among the mountains of West Java is a region that embodies the very best of Indonesia, its beauty, its diversity, its resilience, its creativity, its spirit. The story of Bandung Barat is not merely about the past. It is a message for the future, a message that says progress and preservation can coexist, a message that says culture remains valuable in a changing world, a message that says communities become stronger when they honor their heritage, a message that says even the most overlooked places can achieve extraordinary things. So, as this journey comes to an end, remember this. The next time you hear the name Bandung Barat, do not think only of mountains, valleys, farms, or tourist attractions. Think of generations of people who transformed challenges into opportunities. Think of communities that refuse to give up. Think of a land that continues to inspire everyone who takes the time to understand it. Because Bandung Barat is more than a destination, more than a regency, more than a chapter in Indonesian history. It is a symbol of what is possible when people, culture, and nature grow together. And as long as its mountains stand, its rivers flow, its traditions endure, and its people continue to dream, the story of Bandung Barat will remain one of Indonesia's most inspiring, untold legends. A legend still being written, a legend still growing, a legend whose greatest chapter may be yet to come. But before we close this story, there is one question worth asking. What would happen if Bandung Barat had never existed? What if these mountains had never nurtured communities? What if these valleys had never produced harvests? What if these roads and railways had never connected people? What if these legends had never been passed from one generation to another? The answer is simple. West Java would not be the same. Indonesia would not be the same. Because the influence of Bandung Barat extends far beyond its borders. Every shipment of fresh vegetables that reaches urban markets. Every cup of locally grown coffee enjoyed by travelers. Every tourist who discovers the beauty of the Highlands. Every student inspired by local history. Every cultural tradition preserved against the pressures of time. All of these contribute to a larger story, the story of a region whose impact is often greater than people realize. Throughout history, some places become famous because of power, others become famous because of wealth, but places like Bandung Barat become important because of contribution. Day after day, year after year, generation after generation, the people of this region have quietly contributed to the growth of West Java and Indonesia, not through headlines, not through global attention, but through consistent effort, through dedication, through resilience. And perhaps that is the most inspiring form of greatness, the greatness that does not seek recognition, the greatness that exists because people simply choose to do what is necessary for their families, their communities, and their future. As the world becomes increasingly connected, Bandung Barat finds itself entering a new era. Information travels faster than ever. Tourists can discover hidden destinations with a single search. Local businesses can reach customers far beyond regional borders. Young people can connect with global opportunities while remaining rooted in their local identity. This creates extraordinary possibilities. Imagine Bandung Barat becoming a global model for sustainable tourism. Imagine its agricultural innovations inspiring other regions. Imagine its cultural heritage attracting international interest. Imagine local entrepreneurs creating products that reach markets around the world. Imagine future generations leading innovations in education, technology, environmental conservation, and community development. These possibilities are not distant dreams. Many are already beginning to take shape. The seeds have been planted. The foundations already exist. What happens next depends on the choices made today. Because every generation inherits two responsibilities: to preserve what is valuable and to improve what can be improved. The people of Bandung Barat have inherited magnificent landscapes, rich traditions, remarkable history, and extraordinary opportunities. The challenge now is ensuring that future generations inherit these same treasures. Perhaps one day, decades from now, a child will stand on a hillside overlooking the valleys of Bandung Barat. They will see forests stretching toward the horizon. They will hear stories about the heroes who fought for independence. They will learn about the farmers who transformed the land. They will discover the legends that shaped local identity. They will understand the sacrifices that built their communities, and they will feel proud. Proud not only of where they live, but of the story they have inherited. Because pride rooted in understanding is powerful. It inspires responsibility. It inspires leadership. It inspires action. And that is exactly why stories like this matter. Not simply because they teach history, but because they remind people of their connection to something larger than themselves. Every mountain in Bandung Barat tells a story of endurance. Every river tells a story of continuity. Every village tells a story of community. Every generation tells a story of hope. Together, those stories create something extraordinary, a living legacy, a legacy that continues to evolve, a legacy that belongs not only to Bandung Barat, but to Indonesia as a whole. And perhaps that is the final lesson hidden within this remarkable region. True greatness is not measured by how loudly a place announces itself to the world. True greatness is measured by the lives it shapes, the values it preserves, the opportunities it creates, the inspiration it provides. By those measures, Bandung Barat is truly extraordinary. Its mountains have inspired wonder. Its people have inspired respect. Its history has inspired reflection. Its future inspires hope. And as long as those qualities endure, Bandung Barat will remain far more than a location on a map. It will remain a symbol of resilience in the face of change, a symbol of harmony between humanity and nature, a symbol of cultural pride, a symbol of possibility. So wherever you are in the world right now, remember this name, Bandung Barat. Not because it is the largest region, not because it is the wealthiest, not because it seeks attention, but because it reminds us of something essential, that some of the world's most meaningful stories are hidden in plain sight, waiting patiently for someone to listen, waiting patiently for someone to understand, waiting patiently for someone to share them with the world. And now that story has been shared. The story of a land born from volcanic fire, strengthened through struggle, enriched by culture, sustained by nature, and carried forward by generations of determined people. This is Bandung Barat, a place where the past still whispers through the mountains, where the present thrives among valleys and communities, and where the future rises with every new sunrise over the highlands of West Java. Its story is not ending. Its story is only beginning. And the world is finally starting to notice. And perhaps that is where the true magic of Bandung Barat begins. Not in the famous landmarks, not in the photographs shared across social media, not even in the breathtaking mountain views that attract visitors from every corner of Indonesia. The true magic lies in something far deeper. It lies in the realization that Bandung Barat is a place where history, nature, and humanity continue to move forward together. In many parts of the world, rapid development has erased connections to the past. Ancient traditions disappear, historic landscapes vanish, communities lose touch with their roots. Yet in Bandung Barat, despite all the changes that have occurred over the decades, the connection remains. The mountains still dominate the horizon. Traditional wisdom still survives in local communities. Cultural values are still passed from parents to children. Stories are still told. Memories are still honoured. And because of that, Bandung Barat possesses something increasingly rare in the modern world: authenticity. You cannot manufacture authenticity. You cannot build it overnight. You cannot buy it. Authenticity is earned through generations of lived experience. It grows from history. It grows from culture. It grows from the relationship between people and place. And Bandung Barat has cultivated that authenticity for centuries. That is why visitors often leave with more than photographs. They leave with memories. They leave with perspective. They leave with a deeper appreciation for the richness of Indonesian heritage. Because when people visit Bandung Barat, they are not simply observing a destination. They are experiencing a story written across landscapes shaped by volcanic forces, a story carried by communities who refused to surrender to hardship, a story enriched by legends that continue to inspire imagination, a story strengthened by every generation that chose to preserve what mattered. And perhaps no generation has faced a more important responsibility than the one living today. The future of Bandung Barat is being shaped right now. In classrooms where students are learning new skills, in farms where innovation meets tradition, in businesses where local creativity drives economic growth, in communities working to protect natural resources, in cultural centres preserving artistic heritage, in homes where grandparents continue sharing stories with younger generations. These everyday actions may seem small, but history has always been built through small actions repeated over time. A single seed becomes a harvest, a single lesson becomes knowledge, a single idea becomes innovation, a single generation becomes a legacy. This is how Bandung Barat was built, and this is how its future will be shaped. Imagine the possibilities that lie ahead. Imagine cleaner rivers flowing through protected ecosystems. Imagine forests thriving because communities chose conservation over short-term gain. Imagine cultural festivals attracting visitors from around the world. Imagine local products becoming internationally recognized symbols of quality. Imagine young leaders emerging from Bandung Barat and contributing to Indonesia's future. Imagine a region that becomes known not only for its beauty, but also for its wisdom. That future is within reach, because Bandung Barat possesses all the ingredients necessary for success: natural beauty, rich history, strong cultural identity, resourceful communities, strategic location, and most importantly, people who care deeply about the place they call home. History teaches us that regions thrive when they understand their strengths. Bandung Barat's strength has never been a single mountain, a single attraction, or a single resource. Its strength has always been its ability to adapt while remaining true to itself. When challenges emerged, communities found solutions. When opportunities appeared, they embraced them. When traditions were threatened, they protected them. When the future demanded change, they evolved. That spirit continues today, and it will continue tomorrow. Because resilience is not merely something found in history books. It is something that lives within people. The same determination that helped previous generations overcome obstacles now exists within the younger generation. The same creativity that transformed difficult terrain into productive farmland continues to inspire innovation. The same courage that sustained communities during difficult times still shapes local character. That is why the story of Bandung Barat remains unfinished. Every sunrise over the mountains marks the beginning of another chapter. Every child born into the community represents a new possibility. Every dream pursued adds another layer to the region's legacy. And every person who learns about Bandung Barat becomes part of its story. Perhaps that includes you, because stories have power. They connect people across distances. They preserve knowledge. They inspire action. And once a story enters your heart, it becomes impossible to forget. The story of Bandung Barat deserves to be remembered, not simply because it is interesting, not simply because it is beautiful, but because it reminds us of what truly matters: connection, community, heritage, perseverance, responsibility, hope. These values are woven into every chapter of Bandung Barat's journey. They are reflected in its landscapes. They are preserved in its traditions. They are carried forward by its people, and they will continue to guide its future. So when future generations tell the story of Bandung Barat, What will they say? They will say it was a place where nature and humanity learned to coexist. They will say it was a place where culture remained strong despite change. They will say it was a place where people transformed challenges into opportunities. They will say it was a place that understood the importance of preserving the past while building the future. Most importantly, they will say it was a place that never lost its identity, because identity is the foundation upon which lasting success is built, and Bandung Barat's identity is one of resilience, beauty, wisdom, and possibility. A rare combination, a powerful combination, a timeless combination. As the mountains continue to watch over the valleys below, as rivers continue their endless journey toward the sea, and as communities continue writing new chapters of their shared story, one thing becomes clear. Bandung Barat is not simply a destination to visit, it is a lesson to learn from, a reminder to appreciate heritage, a reminder to protect nature, a reminder to value community, a reminder that extraordinary stories often exist where few people think to look. And that is why the story of Bandung Barat will continue to inspire for generations to come. Not because it belongs to the past, but because it belongs to the future. A future still unfolding, a future still waiting, a future as vast and promising as the mountains that rise above this remarkable land. And if you stay with this story just a little longer, you'll discover that Bandung Barat is more than a region shaped by history. It is a region shaped by dreams. Every generation that has lived upon this land has carried a vision of something greater. The earliest communities dreamed of stability and survival. Farmers dreamed of fertile harvests. Freedom fighters dreamed of independence. Parents dreamed of opportunities for their children. Community leaders dreamed of progress and prosperity. And today, a new generation dreams of a future that connects local heritage with global possibilities. This continuous chain of dreams is what gives Bandung Barat its remarkable energy, because progress does not happen by accident. Progress begins when people imagine a better tomorrow. Look around Bandung Barat today. You can see evidence of those dreams everywhere. In schools preparing students for the future, in local businesses creating opportunities, in agricultural communities embracing innovation, in tourism destinations introducing the beauty of West Java to new audiences, in cultural initiatives preserving traditions that might otherwise be forgotten. Every achievement visible today was once merely an idea in someone's mind, a hope, a vision, a possibility. That is the power of collective ambition. And throughout its history, Bandung Barat has consistently demonstrated an ability to turn possibility into reality. But perhaps the most extraordinary thing about Bandung Barat is its relationship with time. Many places are defined by either their past or their future. Bandung Barat manages to embrace both. Its history remains visible. Its future remains open. The result is a region constantly moving forward while remaining grounded in its identity. Visitors experience this balance immediately. One moment, they may be exploring landscapes shaped by ancient geological events. The next, they may encounter modern attractions filled with innovation and creativity. One moment, they are hearing centuries-old legends. The next, they are witnessing a generation preparing for challenges that did not exist even a decade ago. This coexistence of tradition and transformation is one of Bandung Barat's greatest strengths, because the future does not belong solely to those who innovate, nor does it belong solely to those who preserve. The future belongs to those who can do both. And Bandung Barat has been practicing that balance for generations. The mountains provide perhaps the best metaphor. From a distance, they appear permanent and unchanging. Yet over time, they are constantly evolving. Rain shapes them, wind shapes them, vegetation shapes them, geological forces shape them. Change occurs continuously, even when it is difficult to see. The same is true of communities. The same is true of cultures. The same is true of Bandung Barat. Change is inevitable. Growth is inevitable. The challenge is ensuring that change strengthens rather than weakens identity.